Hi guys, how's it? Kia ora to my whanau in Aotearoa, and good day to everyone else. Yeah, I know it's a little delay. I told everybody I was going to be on the road this weekend. Had an absolutely amazing time in Oklahoma, as I always do. Love that place. Absolutely beautiful state. Not really like one of the ones you hear about overseas too much, but it is a very, very beautiful state. Not really built up a whole lot. They've got some decent sized towns. And that was where I wanted to go for my birthday. I wanted to get away. I got to spend some time with my girlfriend, obviously, and I got to run into my best friend who I've known for 18 years now, Jordan, up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's doing really well, and it's always good to kind of catch up. This is somebody, like I said, I've known since my early 20s. Just turned 40. He mentioned that, like, dude, you're 40. He's 35, 36 now. And it's like, yeah, I'm the first one of the crew to hit the big 4-0. I was able to watch a bit of the game. I think I watched like the last 10 minutes of the first half while we were kind of running some errands and whatnot, but I was not able to sit down and actually watch the game because it was on my cell phone, and it's kind of hard to sit there and just do that whenever you need to. But got home about 4 p.m. today, 4:30 p.m. today, came in here, threw on the game, and went ahead and watched it and decided to do a breakdown for it. Obviously, we all know the final score, 38-21 from Durban. Hollywood Bets Kings Park, I believe, was the actual name of it. But yeah, kind of the same as last weekend, a tale of two halves. It'd been 7 years since the Pumas have won at Durban. Thankfully, that streak continued this year. They did not get the win. We'll go ahead and get this one started off early. And I made a lot of notes for this one in the first half, and then the second half just got really, really upsetting. First thing I have to know, first kick to touch by Frans Steyn misses. Does not get touch. 5 minutes in, Pumas get a deep run, but it's stopped by Kanan Moody. He really impressed me on the day. He does have some good defensive ability, that young man. 10th minute, a scrum penalty on the Pumas leads to a line out. Leads to a penalty. Frans Steyn kicks to touch. Etzebeth gets a try off the maul, but they say that it did not count. Well, I've gone back and watched it, and TAS Analytics went back, and that should have stood. That should have been a try. But they wave it off, and because they said he didn't separate or something along those lines. So it's still 0-0 at the 10th minute line. 14th minute, Frans misses touch again. It's a bit disappointing for me. I mean, there were high points, there were low points. That's probably my low point for Frans. He just was not kicking, I'd say, as well, but we'll get to that here in a moment. A couple minutes after that, Marcus Kramer gets a yellow card. They're getting told, same thing as last week, just repeated penalty trouble early on for the Pumas in the first half, just like the prior weekend. The first half, they were just blitzed in penalties, and it was kind of a repeat. Jasper Visa, 18th minute, Jasper Visa finally, first try in the Springbok green and gold, off a scrum that creeps in. He just puts his hands on the ball after it crosses over, and it's a try. Steyn nails it. Great kick on that. 4 minutes later, Steyn again misses kick to touch. So that's 3 in a row for him. That was the last one I believe they let him try. Willie LaRue was doing it after that. 26th minute, once again, Pumas in trouble. This time, Martin Gonzalez gets a yellow card. Once again, repeated warnings from the referee. 27th minute, Pablo Matera goes down. It looks like a lower body injury. Time was stopped for several minutes. They had the physio out there looking at him. He stayed on. He did eventually go off like 2 minutes later. I guess he realized, I can't do this. 28th minute, Sia crosses off a line-out maul, and Stan is now 2 of 2. It's 14-0, 28 minutes into the game. Our captain getting the second try of the game. We're up a lot. They're down a man quite a bit in this first half for the Pumas, and I was hoping to see a bit more of that. Screw 3 points, just kick to touch. Let's go for these 5-meter lineouts. They're not going to be able to hold us. And they did a few times hold us over and over again. But finally, like the 34th, 35th minute, we get a penalty. And instead of kicking, we had a man up. Instead of kicking to touch, we just kicked for penalty. It's a 55-meter kick. This is where I kind of like, look, you're not kicking to touch, but you're missing every single conversion, or you're missing every kick to touch, but you're making every single penalty and conversion. Why can we not have a guy that does both? Why? Steyn nails it from 55 meters, and like 35 years old, and that man can still kick very, very well. And it's 17-0 at this point. 30, I think it's like the 34th, 35th, 36th minute, and Argentina finally crosses Bercherneau right before at the 39th minute. It's just compounding errors by the Springboks. I almost said All Blacks. Yeah, that game was on my mind a bit too. Buffelli kicks and it's 1-for-1, and he's 1-for-1 so far in the day, and it's 17-7 going into the half. 41st minute, Springboks collapse the maul. Sia, he collapses it, and Argentina kicks to touch. Nothing really comes off of that. This just begins the second half of the exact opposite. We have discipline issues massively in the second half. It was just like the previous week's game. We kept our discipline in the first half, completely fell apart in the second. And we've done this. This was the second week in a row. We failed to deliver for 80 minutes. I'll get back to that later. 46th minute, Gonzalez gets a try after like pretty much non-existent Bok defense. And Boffelli is 2 of 2 on the day, and it's 17-14. Yeah, there goes our, any chance pretty much at this point. I mean, nobody wanted to say it, but I'll say it right now. Yeah, there went any chance that we had right there. 55th minute, a line out off a penalty for the Boks. Maul leads to a penalty try, and De La Fuente yellow card, and it's 24-14, 55 minutes in. 4 minutes left. I'll just say it was a cock yellow card for Eben Etzebeth. He shoved a player sort of into, and it was a kick. Argentina went to go get the ball. The guy landed awkwardly. They just felt like giving Etzebeth a yellow card. It was cock, straight up. It was a cock call. I'm not blaming it on the refs, but that was a shit call from the refs. Straight up, no question. 64th minute, Faf de Klerk gets a yellow card for collapsing the maul. Yeah, there we go. Penalty trouble in the second half. 67th minute, we're down by 2 men. I mean, Morona gets a try out wide. We're down by 2 men. There's absolutely no way we can cover. You got 2 guys completely open out to the left side, and Morona crosses over. Buffelli kicks 24-21. And it's about that point that the commentators finally admit what we already knew as fans. There's no chance we win the Rugby Championship at this point. 72nd minute, we get a second penalty try, which leads to a Sclavi yellow card. Same thing, just ill discipline. And then the 80th minute, Krill starts it all off, gets it out to Mampipi, who gets it to Arenza, Moody, Mampipi, Arenza. Currently, Arenza gets a second try in a second game for the Springboks. Absolutely cool to see Mampipi, Arenza, and Mooney all kind of running down the field at the same time, the 3 of them. And if I was a defense, I would be scared of that, because those 3 guys are fast. Like, very, very fast. And, and then Steyn kicks it. He's perfect on the day for his kicking-wise. But, all for naught. We end up losing the Rugby Championship to the All Blacks this year. All Blacks defend their title once again. 22 years or 20 plus years of straight dominance for the Blood is low for them. I mean, I was really, the All Blacks game was pretty disappointing as well, because I thought Australia would put up somewhat of a fight, and they didn't really put up much of one. So let's talk about this game, guys. Let's talk about, for the second time in 2 weeks, we failed to put together 80 solid minutes. My man of the match, before we even go any farther, my man of the match was a absolute beast on the scrum, Frans Merelba. He was giving the Pumas trouble all day. Frans Merelba gets my man of the match. That's my personal opinion. He was giving the Pumas scrum hell all day. Great game on him. But we failed once again to put together 80 total minutes of good rugby. the issue with Frans kicking in the first half and missing to touch, we still should have been up by way more than what we were in that first half. We should have gone to at least up 24-7 in the first half. Even just the Etzebeth, we should have had more than that. We were owning them on the scrum, the lineouts. The only thing we were screwing up was kick to touch, but that wasn't that bad. Our defense held pretty damn good for that first half. We failed once again to put anything together for the first 30 minutes of the second half. It was all them. It was all Puma's attack and us just making pointless penalty after pointless penalty after pointless penalty in that second half. Yes, the officiating was cock, but we failed once again to put together 80 solid minutes of rugby. Now we have a bit of a break. This was our last home game for the year. Sellout crowd there at the crowd. The national anthem gave me goosebumps. Absolutely beautiful to hear the people of South Africa, especially with the recent problems, singing the national anthem with as much pride as they have. So we get a little bit of a break, and we get a lot of questions that need to be asked during this break. Will we get answers in time for the end of the year internationals? Because we're playing France. We're playing Ireland. We're playing the two guys that are teams that are ahead of us, we need to win those games. We need to give 80 minutes both games if we even expect to win. Because playing like this against Ireland or France, we're going to get our asses handed to. We're going to get our butts busted. No question. No question. We've got to put in a total 80-minute shift. All guys, all 23 men have got to put it all on the line for 80 total minutes. The last 2 weeks, we have failed to do that. Incredible. It's an 80-minute game. We've played about 45 to 50 minutes of quality rugby. And the scoreline reflected it in both weekends. We should have blown the Pumas out of the water last week. Blown them out of the water. We should have blew them out of the water this week, and we did not. We failed to once again. So that's how we end it. We end in second place in the Rugby Championship standings. This was a really odd one this year. I mean, Argentina was at the top of the standings at one point. This was not the typical one where you had a team go 4 rounds, 5 rounds deep, undefeated, like you have in the past. Everybody had the same record until 2 weeks ago. And, it's a game of numbers. We failed to get the bonus point. We failed to get the point differential. We had to get a bonus point, and we had to beat them by at least 39 points. We failed both. And that's what bothers me the most, is we didn't even succeed in one if either of those tasks. So back to the drawing board for Jock Ninnebar. We've got some time off. Maybe look at some adjustments. Look at maybe guys that maybe we need to rotate out in the cycle when we go back north. Obviously, they're all going to go back to their professional teams. They'll probably get about 2 weeks off before they start playing in the URC or Premiership or God knows wherever they're playing. Very, very disappointed in the lack of kick-to-touch ability by Frans Steyn. This is a guy that has never had that problem, and maybe him being at 10, maybe it was a little bit of extra pressure that kept him from being able to do that, but his boot was solid outside of that. Still very much impressed with Bofelli, the Argentinian. Solid winger, and God, what a boot that guy has on him. Kickers always have the weirdest habits, and he's no different than anyone else, but that guy he's solid. And Lavanini is still a monster, and Pablo Matera is still batshit crazy. Augustine Creevy still doing it at 37 years old. And I tip my hat, great tournament from the Pumas. We should have played better than what we did in the last 2 weeks. And that's why we finished in second place, unfortunately. So, like I said, back to the drawing board for Jock Ninnebar and Rassia Rasmus. Hopefully some changes are made for the end of the year internationals. And as we get ready to really shift into URC Premiership coverage, French coverage, like I said, I will start covering the URC here shortly. As we get time, but just want to thank everyone. Totally almost slipped my mind. Late, guys, but happy South African Heritage Day. Late South African Heritage Day for my South African followers. It was yesterday. I had my block cap on, my South Africa flag shirt on, my tank top, had the flag displaying. I'm in a Walmart in Tulsa, Oklahoma last night at like 11 o'clock at night, over and just kind of shopping around, and this guy pops his head around the corner and says, "What's up?" to me in Afrikaans. I was like, "What's up? You know, how's it, man?" And he was actually a South African guy. There were 3 of them in a grocery store in Tulsa, Oklahoma on a Saturday night. Obviously, they see my flag. They're just like tripping out because they're like, this is not where we'd ever expect to see something like this. Told them about my YouTube channel. They were over here working because they have the state fair getting set up there in Tulsa. They were working the state fair. And really, really nice to see South African dudes all over the world. Always great. And I was going to say another thing. The first major full-scale biltong company in at least that I know of in the United States, with a huge distribution facility and everything, is located in my girlfriend's hometown of Medill, Oklahoma. Strive Biltong. We drove by the warehouse. I took a photo of it because it was like, wow, like not ever something I'd ever thought I'd see in the U.S. But yeah, outside of that, had a great trip. Once again, thank you guys for all the continued support. I hope everyone had a great Bri Day. Everybody was sending me pictures of Bri on WhatsApp. If you guys want my WhatsApp, I'll leave my email. You can head up me on email if you want to chit chat on WhatsApp. I'm totally cool with it. But I hope everyone had a great weekend, and you know, the flag ain't coming down. The jersey stays the same always. Green and gold until I die. And that's just the end of the story. That's how it's always going to be. And that's my team until I die. I will talk to all of you again very soon. Cheers, guys.